Hi, everyone. Welcome to Launch a Cost-Effective Mentoring Program. I am Andrew Brobston, coming to you live from my home office in rural Dakota County. It's a privilege to be here, and I definitely thank you all for coming. So, something I'll tell you, I am the lead developer at, last job. I'll try this again. Perils of doing this live. I'm the principal software developer at Hobson's. And it just so happens that we are hiring. We have several jobs open, technical, non-technical. A lot of them can be done remotely, full-time, not just during the pandemic. So I encourage you to check that out and certainly get in touch with me if you want to chat about anything. Twitter might actually be the best way to get in touch with me. Andrew Brobston's my handle. So beyond that, let's go ahead and get started. Now, you may not have thought of cost-effective and mentoring together before, but I find that a key to success is not to think of mentoring as an extra. If the mindset is that continuing education programs are a perk for your employees, they'll be the first to go anytime there's a challenge. Now, it doesn't matter whether you call something a perk if it is one, right? Well, what if it really isn't a perk? What if mentoring is more than that? How can that be? Hold that thought. We're going to come back to it. This is going to be a little bit cliche, but for your business to grow, your people have to grow. So that's going to include, your technical skills, communication skills, self-driven learning. In other words, can people actually, are people able to learn for themselves and apply what they learn to your business? Now, that all sounds great. We all know that we want our employees to be better, to know more things, to be able to do their jobs better, to help the business succeed. So now sounds great. And a lot of people will think about, oh, we should do this education program, or we should have a program like this. But you're going to decide, well, wait, but I have a business to run, and we're already overloaded. So we're already overloaded and everything. And sorry, I have a question coming in. It should be brobston.com/Hobsons-jobs. Did I not get that right? I'll type in chat here. So, but thanks. Go ahead and let me know if you have any other questions through this. So you have, like I say, you have business to run. You're probably behind schedule on a project. If you're like most of us, it seems like. And you say, well, we'll start when we have this done, or we'll start, at some other time. And you'll find that that doesn't really work. In my experience, it just doesn't happen. Okay, so what then? Start small. And what I mean by start small is literally do anything that works towards a business goal, that allows you to measure progress, and that you're not already doing. Ideally, this is going to be something that you want to do, or you want to learn, or you want to improve. So make sure you start with something that you are sure you can do each and every week. And however small you think you're starting, it's not going to be small enough. Make it almost absurd, but still valuable. Usually when I start talking with someone about starting on any kind of learning program, and I tell them this, they'll still usually pick something too big. You can always expand it later, but I'm trying to think, what is something that you can absolutely do in the next week? Plan when you're going to do this. Just don't think that, oh, hey, it's going to be a break. I'll do this over lunch or something. No, actually, you need to schedule just a little tiny bit of time to do whatever this is that you're going to do and that you're going to learn. And if that's as far as you get, you are much, much better off than if you did nothing. You'll have learned a skill or something for yourself. You'll be helping the business. And you need to be able to tie what you're doing to the business somehow, even if no one is asking about it. This is going to help you maybe with performance evaluations, but it really is going to help you demonstrate the value of the learning that you're doing on your own. But hang on a second, that's not a mentoring program. Isn't it though? You're learning and stuff. Well, no, it really isn't a mentoring program. It's kind of missing something called a mentor, but it can be a foundation for a mentoring program. it's a very short hop to this self-directed learning to a mentoring program, especially when you realize that you, yes, you, every single one of you watching, can be a mentor today. So how do you start? Okay, it's really not that hard. Find someone who wants to work with you. Okay, so is there someone that you are acquainted with at work that you know is working on something that, or they ask you questions a lot, or you know that they're interested in something? I don't care necessarily who you know, how you find the person, but maybe someone does, you know, would like to bounce some ideas off of you. It doesn't have to be a big formal thing. Listen regularly and actively. By regularly, I mean frequently. A lot of times it's going to happen that someone will agree to mentor or meet with someone and help them, but it just never materializes. They never set up a time, or they'll think, oh, I'm sorry, I'm too busy this week, let's do it next week, or they will, you know, or they'll reschedule constantly or whatever. Don't do that. Make sure that you actually set aside a time to do this. Again, start small. It's going to be a very short amount of time. By listen actively, I mean act as a sounding board. Ask questions. Maybe expose lines of thought that the mentee hasn't considered. And suggest resources when it makes sense. You know, so if somebody, say, wants to learn React or something, and say, oh, hey, I know this really great tutorial online, or I know so-and-so, there's an expert, I could introduce you. Certainly do that. Now, something's missing, right? Something you might think of as part of a mentoring program almost implicitly wasn't in this list. Don't you need to have something to teach your mentee? No, absolutely not. And that's literally why the system can work. Okay, because, you know, I'm not an expert on everything, obviously. People have topics they are very good at, not as good at, but you don't actually need to know the content to be able to mentor. Mentor is not instruction, and it is not teaching. Now, teaching has a place in this system, but it's a vastly different role. Even if you are able to teach something, again, it's a separate role, and a separate place in this system, and I'll get into how that works a little bit later. Now, here's one way to proceed. It's not the only way, may not even be your way. In fact, likely, maybe it's not going to be your way. But what I'm going to describe here is the program that I was asked to start by the CTO and by the head of software development at my previous job at SJV Data Solutions. And just for a little bit of background, I asked, even though I'm no longer with that company, I asked my mentees if they had any objections by doing this presentation, because as you're going to see, one of the cornerstones of this process for me is confidentiality and respect of the individuals I'm working with. And of course, everyone was fine with it. I wouldn't be doing this presentation right now. But just know that I'm not going to get into any specifics about even kind of hypothetical individuals, because it's too easy to maybe identify someone that way. So anyway, but going back into this, how did I design a mentoring program, and specifically SJV's mentoring program? I kind of drew on my experience. I was a music teacher before I went back to school. I've taught literally thousands of private music lessons. And again, mentoring and teaching are not the same thing. But this kind of gave me an idea of some of the strategies that work to help people learn things. So also, if you remember, you know, we talked about, or I talked about earlier, the necessity that business value is central. It's not actually about the participants, it's about the business. And if you forget that, your program is going to go by the wayside again as soon as there's a challenge. So you need to make sure that it's focused on the business. So my initial goals, you know, first off, participants would improve their skills and better meet the organization's business needs. I sort of designed the program with developers in mind, but it turns out we had developers, product professionals, managers all participating. And this isn't specific to technology, but if I do go a little more into technology realm, that's the perspective I'm coming from, but it doesn't have to have anything to do with tech at all. Participants' improved skills will promote greater self-sufficiency and better work efficiency. If you're on a development team, you probably realize that people are going to have questions, obviously. And if you've got more junior members of your teams, you want to help them be self-sufficient so that you're not taking as much of your time to work with them. And so a program like this can help more junior members of your team learn how to research and do things for themselves. And it's not like, it's just for junior developers, but that is one potential benefit of this program. Will provide a realistic path for career advancement. A lot of times developers believe that to advance their career, they have to leave your organization and get a new job. I found this to be the case sometimes. Your experiences definitely could vary. But we want to give developers a path within the organization. And sometimes also developers would change jobs if they feel like they're not learning anything anymore, they no longer have a challenge. And I'm sure that's not unique to developers either. But it's something that we want to focus on. This program done well can help you with employee retention, which is definitely a boost to your business. It also means, from the business perspective, that an organization could hire less experienced developers to help them meet some business needs while giving them paths to improve. A lot of times, you'll find that smaller organizations don't hire entry-level or junior devs because they think they can't commit resources to training them. Now, this program is not a complete solution to that problem, but it can help. It can be a structure to start bringing people on and having them grow their skills when you think you might not otherwise have the resources to do it. And investing in these developers continue to train can save money on compensation simply because you're probably not paying junior developers as much as you would senior developers. Now, during career advancement, salaries, benefits, etc., or compensation generally should increase along with the career progression, but you're probably going to get more work for a little bit less money, at least some of the time. So that's a way to kind of sell it to the exec suite if you're in a position where you need to do that. How would we evaluate this program? Before starting this program at all, we needed a way to measure its success. The program was on a trial basis, but even if that's not officially the case, such programs always need to demonstrate effectiveness to the business. So recording learning goals and progress is absolutely essential to the program, however you want to do it. It doesn't have to be fancy, and our system certainly wasn't, but you need to be able to record the business value that you're providing and show that business value to show that this program is worth doing, or to course correct and see if you need to make changes. You need to hold participants accountable for their continued improvement, and I'll talk a little later about how I think about accountability. Track how improvements contribute to the business. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Why is this program valuable? What can we do that we didn't do before? And you need to review this program frequently. I say within the first 3 or 4 months, have a pretty comprehensive review. In the case of my program, that was kind of before the end of 2019. What else did I consider? Mostly scale. I was a team lead. Sorry, actually, I'll check on that error. Thanks for that. I deploy a Lambda at Edge, so I'm not sure what's going on if that's not working. It worked a little bit ago, so my apologies. I will post a different link if that one's not working, but I thought that would be a little friendlier. This is to the job page, so I'll come back to that job listing page at the end. Regardless, scale. I can't take a lot of time to mentor everyone. That's why I was thinking about how can I take a little amount of time and get this done. So what I needed to do is I designed the program so that I could work with everyone, take very little time to do it. What happens, we had 15-minute meetings weekly, and I had about 7 to 9 mentees, depending kind of where we were in the program. So it meant I spent about 2 hours a week administering this program, and that's it. And I couldn't do that if I was trying to teach during this program. This is just the mentoring, the weekly touch points. I do insist they're weekly. That goes back to my music experience, because otherwise there's too long of a gap. I mean, if someone's on vacation, obviously that's fine. But I mean, I don't want to set up bi-weekly or monthly. I'm pretty insistent that it's very short. Even if you've only got 5 minutes, touch base once a week if you at all possibly can. Initial guidelines. Now, what happens, we got a Word doc that, each mentee had one. It was shared with the mentee and me. And at the top of it, we had some things written, but in practice, things changed a little bit. I'm not going to dwell on the guidelines because yours will be different, but you can kind of take these and get the concept. The mentee, you will record goals and notes. In fact, these guidelines are the last time I write in this log. Basically, don't wait until the meeting. Make sure you keep track as we go. This document is intended to be confidential, as is the what we discussed in the program. To me, that is critical, because that allows the mentee to be honest with you. And notably, in this case, I am not a manager. So if there's things they want to tell me, but they don't want to tell the manager, that's okay. I'm not there to narc on them. So I hope that mentees can trust me with that, because that's essentially the point of a lot of what I'm doing. And the program doesn't work very well if that trust isn't there. Now, it's not confidential from the mentee's end. I mean, if the mentee wants to tell everyone what they're working on, I mean, obviously that's fine, but I'm not going to go blab about it. If I note insufficient progress, we'll talk about it and then take action, because this is part of the job. Goals can and will vary widely, but it does need to aid the company in some way and needs to aid in career growth. A few more things here. Part of my job is advocate. If you need someone to go bat for you, I'm there. Really with you, though, I'm probably going to go with you to meet with someone, not just do it on your behalf. But I'm not going to do that without asking first or talking about it first. Okay. We intend to help you block out a reasonable amount of time, and that's going to be, again, critical, because you're going to have diversity problems and lots of other problems if you expect people to do this outside work hours. People have families, they have other obligations, and it just doesn't work if you're not allowing some time to do it. And I will come back to that a little bit later as well. So a few observations. We were a distributed team pre-pandemic, okay? So that was not an obstacle in any way. In fact, I think it might actually have worked better, because we could hop on a call and have to go try to find a conference room. But I'm sure you can do it on site as well. Teaching happens separately. If I have something to teach, like say someone wants to work on SQL Server, that was kind of my specialty there. Yeah, let's set up a separate time to meet about that. Okay, it doesn't happen during the 15 minutes. But I may not be the best expert on this. Maybe I know about some topic, but someone else is an expert. I can help make that connection. But again, I'm not there to teach. I'm there to connect the mentee with the resources that they need. I will notify the mentee if something requires me to break confidentiality, unless I absolutely can't. And I mean, this principle is just almost sacred to me in this program. It's just critical for that trust. Ideally, speculative items are fine. Like say, I want to go learn Rust and we're not a Rust shop. Okay, that might be applicable later. But we had to narrow this a little bit to make sure it was something a little more direct. But by that point, everyone was already doing that, so it really didn't make any difference. Like I said, this is part of the job. It requires time during business hours. I have never seen a place where this 20% time wasn't a myth, and we didn't try to do it here. Initially, I said basically 2 to 4 hours a week. Block it out on the calendar. It doesn't have to be all at once, whatever works best for you. But that didn't always happen. It seemed to work better if we just said, I insist on this being 2 hours, and just do that. That seemed to be a little bit more workable. But your mileage may vary. Maybe someone wants to do an all-day project or something. Certainly arrange that. It wasn't a normal part of what we were doing. But again, make sure it's something that you can actually do, and that the mentee has time to do it as part of their job. It complements but does not replace other continuing education activities. If you have like paid training opportunities or conference program, that's great. We had something we called Friday sessions, which is a 1-hour presentation like every Friday, or 1-hour session that was for continuous learning. Sometimes it had something to do with what people were doing in mentoring, like maybe they wanted to present on a topic they were learning, or we had lightning talks once in a while where it kind of had like everybody do a 5-minute spiel on something. And sometimes just working towards speaking in general could be a goal. So that was a way to do that. But that does not replace the particular mentoring program. Evaluate constantly. Time box. Don't get stuck in a rut. What I mean by that is you might have a goal. It's going to take more than 1 week. Say, I want to learn more about X. Okay, well, can you do that in 6 weeks or maybe 8 weeks? Can you plan that? Plan what those 6 to 8 weeks are going to look like? And then every week when you come back into it, make sure that you are on track and that you're getting what you need out of it. If you're into a program, even if it's like an online course you paid for and it just isn't valuable, don't do it, or don't do the parts that aren't valuable. Like if there's a course for AWS certification and it wants you to do projects like with Alexa or something like that, but it's not actually valuable to what you're doing, just skip those things. Don't feel like you have to do something just because it's there. And then finally, as I was fond of telling people, the mentees did all the work. It's the only way the program can scale. I was there as an accountability mechanism, a program administrator, and a resource connector. That's it. I'm not there to do the work for the mentee, and I simply can't. It doesn't scale. I can't take the time to do that. And that would seriously curtail what we were able to do in the program. So the mentee has to be very self-sufficient, but I'm there to bounce ideas off of, hold them accountable, make sure they are in fact on track, and kind of help steer. So some outcomes. Again, I'm not going to be very specific because of confidentiality. Mentoring work made it into products and enabled very large business initiatives. Again, I can't go into detail, but I will say you probably had at least six-figure six-figure minimum impact. To me, I think would have been pretty easy to compute. People improved not strictly technical skills. We talked about Friday sessions and also knowledge sharing during the day-to-day work. Obviously, people know that they're working on these programs, and so people will share kind of what they're doing with others, and so it helps the team grow even with topics people aren't specifically working on. I like to think if people were having a rough time, it helped them turn things around. Now, this is not an employee assistance program. It's not counseling. I am not qualified to do those things, and it does not replace them at all. But if someone was just having a little trouble with the work, maybe it would help me get them back on track, and hopefully mentees liked it. There were some career advancement, promotions, etc. And I like to say this is the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my tech career. And I didn't even do it. The mentees did. And, sometimes I almost get a little bit choked up talking about this topic, kind of near and dear to my heart. But I would love to talk with any of you about this idea. If we can schedule it, I mean, we're all very busy. Reach out to me on Twitter if you want. I am going to pull up the link now for, I'll actually go back to the initial slides here if I can. We're going to go. We'll go all the way back. This is Reveal.js. It's neat. Okay, so this was this particular link, which it sounds like maybe isn't working, or it's 503, which is unfortunate. I will get you the Greenhouse link. And actually, I don't know if my chat posts into Real Chat, but because this is just a redirect to Greenhouse. So I will go ahead and find that link for you. I don't know if someone who's in private chat here can do this or not. Comments. Okay, so I can't do that. So thanks. Somebody's going to move that into chat. And I'll go ahead and post the link. Okay, cool. Thank you. So yeah, definitely reach out if you see something. I know there's a lead developer job. It's we're company-wide remote right now, but a lot of these positions are, again, fully remote. So thanks so much for that. And again, I will do what I can to fix this as soon as I can. But any more questions? We've got about a minute left. I'm not seeing anything in my chat window here, and obviously I've got a little bit of laminate edge troubleshooting to do. So I do want to reach out, and I know maybe some people from Hobson's are here, so thanks to Hobson's for letting me take the time to be here today. I really appreciate it. It's my 3rd week on the job, so they're taking a little bit of a gamble by letting me do this, but I really appreciate it. And thanks to SJV folks. I don't know if any of you are here, but again, this program is rewarding, and I thank you for the opportunity to do it in the first place. And I hope that you were able to continue it after my departure, and I hope that I can share this with other people too. But please reach out, and I'll do the best I can to get back to you. Any other questions? All right. Well, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, everyone. I think Colin's up next. Colin and I hung around Lakeville quite a bit about 8 years ago. We were both on, we were both political, candidates at the time. So we know each other from later. But his session should be pretty good, so stick around. When can I start this at Hobson's from Janice? Well, Janice, I assume that you're the Janice I know from Hobson's. So I will talk with the team and the leadership about that, because we should set something up. I wanted to go through this first so people kind of knew what they were getting into and kind of how I approached it. But anything else? All right. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Again, it was a privilege to be here. And thanks to Ministar for hosting all this, and thanks to the sponsors for allowing this to go on. I'm grateful we were able to do this, even if we couldn't do it in person. I think it's really valuable. So thanks again, everyone. Enjoy your day.